Right now, somewhere in the world, a woman is showing a man exactly how she feels about him. Not with words, not with a text message, with four specific parts of her body that she cannot stop herself from revealing when attraction takes over. And here's the terrifying part: 93% of men have absolutely no idea what they're looking at. They miss it every single time. And by the time they figure it out, she's already gone. But not you, not after this video. So, here's something that's going to change the way you see every interaction you have with a woman from this point forward. A study published in the journal Evolution in Human Behavior found that women communicate romantic interest primarily through nonverbal signals, and they do it an average of 13 times before most men even begin to notice. 13 times. She's practically screaming at you in a language your brain hasn't been trained to read yet. And I'm going to be honest with you because I'm a woman and I've done every single thing I'm about to describe in this video. Most of us have. The difference is we don't always know we're doing it either. That's what makes this so powerful. These aren't calculated moves. These aren't rehearsed tricks. These are raw, involuntary biological responses that happen when a woman's body decides it wants someone before her brain even gets a vote. Now, I'm going to walk you through 4 body parts that women instinctively expose, highlight, or draw your attention to when attraction is present. And I've saved the most shocking one for last. The one that once I explain it, you will never be able to unsee it again. It will change every conversation you have. So stay with me because what I'm about to break down is the closest thing to mind reading that actually exists in the real world. But first, you need to understand something critical. The human body is terrible at keeping secrets. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's famous communication research showed that only 7% of emotional communication comes from words. 38% is vocal tone, and a staggering 55% is pure body language. That means more than half of what she's telling you has nothing to do with what's coming out of her mouth. She could be talking about the weather, her job, her dog's new sweater. Doesn't matter. Her body is running a completely different broadcast. And if you know where to look, you'll catch the signal every time. Let's start with the first one. And honestly, this one alone is worth the entire video. The neck. And I don't mean she just happens to have a neck and you can see it. I'm talking about a very specific behavior. When a woman tilts her head to one side during conversation, or reaches up and touches her neck, or brushes her hair away from one side to leave her neck fully exposed, that right there is one of the most ancient and powerful attraction signals the female body produces. Here's why this is so significant. The neck is one of the most vulnerable areas on the human body. It houses the carotid artery, the jugular vein, the trachea. Basically, everything you need to stay alive runs through that narrow column. From an evolutionary standpoint, exposing the neck is a trust signal. It's the body's way of saying, I feel safe with you. I don't perceive you as a threat. In fact, I want you closer. Dr. David Given, an anthropologist at the Center for Nonverbal Studies, has documented this extensively. He calls it a submissive display, not in the sense of weakness, but in the biological sense of openness and receptivity. When a woman slowly tilts her head and lets one side of her neck become visible, her body is performing a gesture that predates spoken language by hundreds of thousands of years. And here's the part that makes this even more interesting. The neck is also packed with pheromone-releasing glands. So when a woman touches her neck around you, she is, without even realizing it, activating those glands and essentially broadcasting her scent in your direction. Her body is literally trying to make itself more chemically noticeable to you. She doesn't know she's doing it. Her endocrine system made the executive decision without consulting her. Now, I'll tell you from personal experience. When I'm talking to someone I find attractive, my hand goes to my neck. I play with my necklace. I brushed my hair back. I had no idea I was doing this until I studied this exact topic and then caught myself mid-con conversation doing it to a guy at a coffee shop. I actually laughed out loud, which confused him, which ruined the moment. But that's a different story. The key thing to watch for is repetition. If she touches or exposes her neck once, it might mean nothing. Twice, it might be a coincidence. 3 times or more during a single conversation, that is not an accident. That is her body putting up a neon sign. But here's where it gets even more telling, and this leads directly into the second body part, which is one most men have never even considered: the wrists. Specifically, the inner wrists. And I know that sounds oddly specific, but stay with me because the science on this is genuinely fascinating. When a woman is attracted to you, she will begin to subtly expose her inner wrists during conversation. She might rest her chin on her hand with her wrist turned upward. She might gesture with her palms facing you, wrists visible. She might place her hands on the table with the soft underside facing up rather than down. These are micro behaviors that happen below the level of conscious awareness, and they carry enormous meaning. The inner wrist is another pulse point. Thin skin, visible veins, high sensitivity. In body language research, showing the inner wrist is categorized as a vulnerability display. When someone shows you the inside of their wrists, they are on a primal level showing you a part of themselves that is unguarded and exposed. It's the opposite of what you do when you feel defensive. Think about it. When someone feels threatened or uncomfortable, what do? They cross their arms, they clench their fists, they turn their wrists inward, protecting the soft side. Everything closes up, but when attraction is present, the opposite happens. Everything opens. A study from the University of Manchester found that women in early-stage romantic attraction display significantly more open palm and wrist-exposing gestures than women in neutral social interactions. The researchers noted that this behavior increased the longer the attractive stimulus was present, meaning the more time she spends around someone she's drawn to, the more her wrists come out to play. And there's a chemical layer to this too. The inner wrist, much like the neck, is a key area for natural fragrance projection. Perfume companies have known this for centuries. That's why the classic advice is to apply perfume to the wrists and neck. Those are the areas where body heat meets thin skin and projects scent most effectively. So, when a woman is subconsciously turning her wrist toward you, her body is doing the exact same thing a perfume ad would tell her to do on purpose, except she's not doing it on purpose. Her nervous system is running the show. I'll give you a real-world example that one of my friends told me about, and it perfectly illustrates this. She was on a first date with a guy at a wine bar. She said the conversation was fine, not amazing, but she was really attracted to him physically. She didn't realize until afterward, when she looked at a photo he took of them at the table, that both of her wrists were turned completely upward on the table, palms open, facing him, she said. She looked at that photo and thought, "Oh my God, I looked like I was about to receive communion." Her body had completely surrendered to the attraction before her brain had even decided if she wanted a second date. Spoiler, she went on 4 more. Now, if the wrist surprised you, the third body part is going to make your jaw drop because this one is the most obvious signal in the world. And yet, almost every man I've talked to interprets it completely wrong. Her legs. And no, I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. This isn't about how she's dressed or whether she's wearing a skirt. This is about positioning, movement, and direction. 3 things her legs are communicating constantly, whether she wants them to or not. Let's start with direction, because this is the most reliable indicator. FBI behavioral analyst Joe Navarro, who spent 25 years reading body language for criminal investigations, has said repeatedly that the feet and legs are the most honest part of the human body. While people have learned to control their facial expressions and hand gestures, almost nobody monitors what their legs are doing. That makes the legs the body's worst liar. When a woman is attracted to you, her feet and legs will point toward you. Even if she's standing in a group of people, even if she's turned slightly to talk to someone else, check where her feet are aimed. If her toes are pointed in your direction, her subconscious has already made a decision about you, and it's a good one. But there's another leg behavior that's even more telling: the cross. When a woman crosses her legs while sitting and the top leg is pointed toward you, that is a strong positive signal. She is quite literally angling her body in your direction. On the flip side, if she crosses her legs and the top leg points away from you, that is a barrier signal. She is creating physical and psychological distance. Then there's what I call the restless leg effect. When a woman is experiencing attraction, her nervous system becomes activated. Adrenaline and dopamine begin circulating, and one of the most common physical manifestations of this internal chemical surge is subtle leg movement, bouncing, swaying, shifting weight from one leg to another. If she seems slightly restless from the waist down, that isn't boredom. That's her body vibrating at a frequency caused by your presence. A particularly bold signal, and this one is well documented in anthropological literature, is the slow leg cross and uncross. Dr. Monica Moore, a psychologist who spent over 2,000 hours observing flirtation behaviors in social settings, cataloged this as one of the top nonverbal courtship signals women display. When a woman slowly crosses and uncrosses her legs during conversation with a man she's attracted to, it is a deliberate, though often subconscious, display designed to draw visual attention to her lower body. It's a movement that says, "Look at me," without a single word. And I'll be transparent here. Every woman reading this just mentally reviewed every date she's been on to check if she did this. The answer is yes, you did. We all did. Now, the fourth and final body part is the one I told you about at the beginning. The one you'll never be able to unsee. And honestly, it's the most powerful of all four because it's the one that involves the most vulnerability, the most subconscious exposure, and the most direct line to what she's actually feeling. Her torso, the front of her body, the stomach, the chest, the center of her physical frame. And before you let your mind wander, this is about orientation and openness. And the science behind it is actually mind-blowing. Here's what I mean. When a woman feels safe, attracted, and engaged, she will face you with her full torso, not angled, not sideways, not with her shoulder creating a wall between you, full frontal orientation with her stomach and chest aimed directly at you. And this matters way more than you think. The torso houses every vital organ, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the stomach. From a survival perspective, exposing the front of your body to someone is one of the most vulnerable things a human being can do. It's why soldiers wear armor on the front, not the back. It's why every self-defense class teaches you to protect your center line. The front of the body is where life is most exposed. So, when a woman turns her full torso toward you in conversation, she is doing something profoundly significant at the biological level. She is opening the most critical area of her body in your direction. She is telling you without words, without intention, without even awareness, that her nervous system has classified you as safe, desirable, and worth being open to. Research from Princeton University's Social Neuroscience Lab found that torso orientation is one of the strongest nonverbal predictors of interpersonal interest. Subjects who were attracted to their conversation partners displayed full frontal body orientation within the first 3 minutes of interaction. Those who were not attracted maintained angled or sideways positioning throughout. And here's where it gets really interesting. When a woman is attracted and comfortable, she doesn't just face you. She often draws attention to her torso area. She might adjust her shirt, touch her stomach lightly, place her hand on her hip, lean forward so her upper body is closer to yours. These are all what behavioral scientists call vententral displays, showing the front of the body as a signal of trust and attraction. I had a moment a few years ago that made this click for me permanently. I was at a friend's birthday party, standing in a circle of people, and there was a guy across from me who I found incredibly attractive. I wasn't saying much to him directly, but someone took a candid group photo, and when I looked at it later, every single person in the circle was standing at slight angles to each other except me. I was aimed at him like a satellite dish, my entire torso squared up, locked on target. Meanwhile, my mouth was mid-sentence talking to someone completely different. My body had chosen a team, and my brain wasn't even invited to the draft. That's the power of the torso signal. It bypasses everything. It doesn't care about context, social norms, or what she thinks she's communicating. Her body's center of gravity tells the truth, even when the rest of her is trying to play it cool. So, let's connect these 4 signals because they don't exist in isolation. When a woman is genuinely attracted to someone, these behaviors tend to cluster. She doesn't just expose her neck, she also opens her wrists, angles her legs toward you, and faces you with her full torso. The more of these signals you observe simultaneously, the stronger the attraction. Dr. Monica Moore's research found that women who displayed 4 or more nonverbal courtship signals within a short time period were approached by men nearly 4 times as often as women who displayed fewer signals. But, and this is the critical part, the women who were most successful at attracting attention weren't doing anything dramatic. They weren't shouting across the room or making grand gestures. They were doing exactly what I just described. Small, subtle, almost invisible body shifts that most people dismiss as meaningless fidgeting. But it's not meaningless. It never was. Every touch of the neck, every flash of the inner wrist, every shift of the legs, every square up of the torso, it's all part of a biological symphony that's been playing for hundreds of thousands of years. The music hasn't changed, only our ability to hear it has faded, and now you can hear it again. You know the four parts. You know what to look for. You know the science. The next time you're in a conversation with a woman and you see her tilt her head, expose her wrist, point her legs your way, and face you with her full body, you'll know something she might not even know about herself yet. She's interested. The question is, what are you going to do about it? And actually, that question brings up something I need to address, because knowing she's attracted is only half the equation. The other half, knowing when she's ready for you to make a move, specifically the moment she wants you to kiss her. Because here's a fact that breaks my heart. Most men wait too long. They see the signals, they feel the energy, but they freeze. And by the time they finally lean in, the window has closed and the magic is gone. That's exactly why I made this next video. It's called She Won't Say Me, but Her Body Already Did, 6 Signs. And it picks up exactly where this video leaves off. If the 4 body parts I just showed you tell you she's attracted, the 6 signs in that video tell you she's ready right now in that moment. And missing those signs is the #1 reason men fumble connections that were already theirs. It's on your screen right now. Click it, because the worst thing you can do with everything you just learned today is recognize the attraction and then do absolutely nothing with it. That video makes sure you never make that mistake. Go watch it. I'll meet you there.